The silent struggle of caregiving. Caregivers are the unsung heroes of the world. Every single day you show up. You give everything, your time, your energy, your heart. And yet, how often do you feel seen, appreciated, understood? Caregiving is one of the most selfless roles a person can take on. But let's be real, it's also one of the hardest. And while you're busy taking care of everyone else, who's taking care of you? Here's the truth. If you don't take care of yourself, burnout is inevitable. You can't pour from an empty cup. And when burnout takes hold, it doesn't just impact you, it impacts the people you're caring for. But today, we're going to change that. We're going to talk about how you can prioritize yourself without guilt, manage the stress of caregiving, and rediscover your strength, resilience, and purpose. This isn't just about surviving caregiving, it's about thriving while you do it. Let's start filling your cup back up. Chapter 1, the reality of caregiver burnout. Caregiving is a beautiful act of love, but it comes with a heavy cost if you're not careful. What is caregiver burnout? Burnout is more than just being tired. It's physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion caused by the overwhelming demands of caregiving. The warning signs: physical fatigue, feeling drained no matter how much rest you get. Emotional exhaustion, irritability, hopelessness, or a sense of being completely overwhelmed. Loss of identity. You've poured so much into caregiving that you don't even know who you are anymore. Why it happens? Caregiver burnout happens because you give without replenishing. You take care of others' needs while neglecting your own, and you do it because you love them, but love can't thrive when you're running on empty. Action step. Take a moment to reflect. What are the signs of burnout that I've been ignoring? Write them down. Awareness is the first step toward change. Chapter 2, why caregivers neglect themselves. Caregivers often fall into the trap of believing that self-care is selfish. You tell yourself, they need me, I don't have time for myself. But here's the truth. Neglecting yourself doesn't make you a better caregiver, it makes you a depleted one. The guilt trap. If I take a break, I'm letting them down. If I rest, I'm being lazy. If I focus on myself, I'm being selfish. These thoughts are lies. Taking care of yourself isn't stealing time from others, it's giving them the best version of you. Action step. Write this mantra down and repeat it daily. Self-care is not selfish, it's necessary. Chapter 3, replenishing your cup, the power of self-care. Self-care is the foundation of managing caregiver burnout. It's not a luxury, it's survival. What self-care really means: physical self-care, moving your body, eating nutritious food, and getting enough sleep. Emotional self-care, taking time to process your feelings, journal, or talk to someone you trust. Mental self-care, giving your mind a break from constant worry and stress, whether through meditation, reading, or simply stepping outside. Personal story: I once coached a woman who was a full-time caregiver for her elderly mother. She felt guilty taking even 10 minutes for herself. We started with small steps: 5 minutes of deep breathing every morning, a walk in the afternoon, and one phone call a week to a friend. Those small acts transformed her energy, her mindset, and her ability to show up for her mother. Action step. Write down one self-care habit you'll commit to this week. It doesn't have to be big, start small, but start. Chapter 4, building your support network. Here's something you need to hear. You don't have to do this alone. Caregiving often feels isolating, but you are not meant to carry this weight by yourself. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. How to build support. Ask for help. Reach out to family, friends, or community resources. Be specific about what you need. Join a support group. Talking to others who understand what you're going through can be incredibly healing. Professional support. Whether it's therapy, coaching, or respite care, don't hesitate to seek professional help. Action step. Identify one person or resource you can reach out to this week. Make the call, send the message, or ask for help. It's okay to need support. Chapter 5, setting boundaries without guilt. Let me tell you something that might change your life. Boundaries are not selfish, they're essential. Without boundaries, caregiving will consume every part of your life, leaving no room for your needs. Boundaries protect your time, energy, and well-being, allowing you to give from a place of strength. How to set boundaries. Be clear. Communicate your needs and limits directly. For example, I can't manage all the appointments alone. I need someone to help. Start small. Set boundaries in one area, like carving out an hour each day for uninterrupted self-care. Stick to them. Boundaries mean nothing if you don't enforce them. Personal story. I worked with a caregiver who was overwhelmed by her family's constant demands. When she started setting small boundaries, like saying no to non-essential tasks, she felt a huge sense of relief and her family began to respect her needs. Action step. Write down one boundary you need to set and commit to having that conversation this week. Chapter 6. Embracing the power of rest. Here's the truth. Most caregivers don't want to admit. Rest feels like a luxury you can't afford. You think, if I rest, I'm falling behind. If I take a break, everything will fall apart. But let me ask you this. What happens when you don't rest? Rest isn't just about physical recovery. It's about emotional and mental rejuvenation. Without it, you run the risk of not only burnout, but losing the joy and fulfillment caregiving can bring. Why rest feels hard? Guilt. You feel like you're letting someone down by stepping away. Control. You think no one else can do it as well as you. Identity. You've tied your worth to always being on. The freedom of rest. Rest isn't about weakness, it's about sustainability. It's about giving yourself permission to pause, recharge, and come back stronger. Action step. Schedule 1 hour this week for rest guilt-free. Whether it's a nap, reading, or just sitting in silence, make it non-negotiable. Chapter 7. Finding joy in the journey. When was the last time you laughed, truly laughed, with your whole heart? Caregiving often feels like a series of tasks and responsibilities, but it's also filled with moments of connection, love, and joy if you're open to seeing them. How to find joy in caregiving. Celebrate small wins. Did you make someone smile today? Did you show up even when it was hard? Celebrate those moments. Create shared joy. Find activities that bring joy to both you and the person you're caring for, whether it's watching a favorite movie or taking a walk. Reconnect with gratitude. Gratitude doesn't erase challenges, but it shifts your focus to what's good in your life. Personal story. I once worked with a caregiver who felt like every day was a grind. We started a simple gratitude practice writing down 3 moments of joy each day. Over time, she realized those moments were always there. She just hadn't been noticing them. Action step. Every evening, write down 1 moment of joy or connection you experienced that day. Let those moments fuel you. Chapter 8. Managing stress with grace. Let's be honest, caregiving comes with stress. But here's the thing, stress isn't the problem. It's how you handle it that matters. Stress is your body's natural response to challenges. But when it becomes chronic, it takes a toll on your mind, body, and spirit. The goal isn't to eliminate stress, it's to manage it with grace. Simple strategies to manage stress. Deep breathing. When stress hits, stop and take 10 slow, deep breaths. It calms your nervous system and brings you back to the present moment. Focus on what you can control. Instead of stressing about what's outside your control, channel your energy into what you can influence. Let go of perfection. You don't have to do it all or do it perfectly. Progress, not perfection, is what matters. Personal story. I coached a man caring for his wife with a chronic illness. His stress was off the charts. We worked on small daily practices like starting his mornings with a quiet moment of breathing and reflection. Those moments became his anchor, helping him navigate even the toughest days. Action step. The next time you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask yourself, what's one thing I can control right now? Focus on that. Chapter 9, reconnecting with your identity. Here's a question for you. Who are you beyond caregiving? When you pour so much of yourself into others, it's easy to lose sight of who you are. But caregiving is a role you play, it's not your entire identity. Rediscovering yourself. Reconnect with your passions. What did you love doing before caregiving? Make time to explore those interests again. Set personal goals. Caregiving doesn't have to mean putting your dreams on hold. Start small, but keep moving towards something that's just for you. Honor your journey. Caregiving is part of your story, but it's not the whole story. Embrace your growth, your strength, and your resilience. Action step. Write down one thing you love doing that's just for you. Schedule time for it this month, even if it's just 30 minutes. Chapter 10, living with purpose and balance. At the heart of caregiving is purpose. You're making a difference in someone's life, showing up with love and dedication. But purpose doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. It means finding a balance that allows you to give from a place of abundance. What balance looks like: honoring your needs, making self-care and rest a priority, sharing the load, building a support system and asking for help, finding meaning, focusing on the love and connection that caregiving brings, even in the midst of challenges. Final challenge: take a moment to visualize your life in balance. What does it look like? How does it feel? Write down 3 steps you can take this week to move closer to that vision. Final words: caregiving with strength and grace. Caregiving is one of the greatest acts of love a person can give. But to give love, you must first nurture yourself. Remember this: you are not alone. Your feelings are valid. Your strength is immeasurable. Burnout doesn't have to define your journey. With the right tools, mindset, and support, you can navigate caregiving with grace, resilience, and even joy. So let's take the first step today. Let's start filling your cup. Let's start living in balance, strength, and purpose. You've got this, and I'm here to remind you you're extraordinary.